Hey there, welcome to another episode of Behind the Mask. I am your host, Sarah Joy, your friendly neighborhood interrogator turned clone, helping you get to know who the person is behind the screen name. Tonight we're chatting with Doug, and I have like a list that I have to go down for this. So Doug, you may know Doug from Coruscant Nights, John Shondongus, Park, Gunk the Annihilator, CT24602, aka Lucky, Saul Dixon, and on Dicey Cantina Ace, on Flight Risk Traj, and on the other place as Calum Clara. All right, so that's quite an extensive list. Normally, I like to point out what you do in your muggle life, but this may be your muggle life. Just
Sounds
on,
about right.
yeah?
Mhm.
You're like, hold on, what other things have I been on?
Mm.
So, Doug, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for hosting this. And yeah, this is great. I'm happy to be here.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I'm happy to have you here, and I'm happy. So, this is the first time that I'm actually seeing your face. I've heard
Hmm.
your voice a lot,
Hmm.
so it's very exciting for me. And
Yeah.
like, you're Mark's brother.
Hmm. I know. Yeah, I'm like uh the heir to a Coruscant Knight's throne or something. I'm like second in command, but just by proxy,
I
because
was gonna say, wait, are you younger?
I'm a little bit younger, like a year and a half.
Okay, okay. How
Hmm.
many months?
Boy, let me think. Math. Uh, a year and
Doug didn't know this was the night that he had to do math.
5 months.
Okay,
So less
okay.
than a year and a half. He can correct me.
17 months.
Uh
Okay.
huh.
Interesting. Okay. I'm always interested because Drunkle Grog and I are 21 months apart.
Hmm.
So usually siblings who are as close as we are. Oh my God, I've got so many questions for you now about this. Let's go into the first. Let's stay on script for a second and then I'm
Okay.
totally going back to this.
Okay.
All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Um. So I am an artist. I'm an educator. Um. A little bit of an illustrator. I do a little bit of everything, kind of like my brother, but maybe I think Mark does like everything. I maybe
Mhm.
do like four or five things. But I make art and I teach art. Um, I adjunct at the college level. A lot of I do a lot of printmaking. So I've taught a lot of screen printing
Mhm.
T-shirts, um, and I teach drawing a little bit. And
Okay.
yeah, I and love Star Wars. Love playing the games. Love yeah, that's pretty much me.
Oh my God, I love that. Okay. So, what we got out of that, you're an adjunct college professor.
Hmm.
You teach drawing, screen printing,
Hmm.
and the three other things that you didn't name.
Um, Drawing, screen printing, printmaking. Printmaking would be like I'll teach carving into like blocks of wood and linoleum.
Yeah.
Like so
Mhm.
printmaking is basically the art of making like we call it a matrix, like a printing matrix.
Uh-huh.
We build a thing like a carved wood block and print it onto paper. So the art of printmaking is like the art of making multiples, and screen printing is like also the art of making multiples. But a lot of like the art I do is heavily like illustrative based, and yeah, that's why I know Mark is like a very talented illustrator, and yeah, I kind of do a little bit of that too. We're both art boys. Yeah.
I love it. Where did this love for drawing come from in your family?
I
Like for
think that
art?
like I think that our appreciation for art and creativity was cultivated from a pretty young age, and like we were just always encouraged to be creative and feel positive about creativity and just pursue creative means. And that's why I would say both he and I have pretty like weird alternative careers where we just, I mean, Mark even more so than I, not that either of us we do live weird lives and we're weird people, but we like
Aren't we all?
he yeah, I mean that's the thing is that like we just also live in an age where like I think everybody's we're we're forging ahead into new opportunities of creativity, just like what we're doing and talking about right now.
Mhm. Oh my goodness, I love that. So was it one parent, both parents, a crazy aunt or uncle or something else outside of the family that encouraged you? I must know more.
I think both parents just being like creative and like supporting us throughout our uh, childhood and young adulthood, and then us growing into adults and being like people adults that have art degrees and just being like what are you supposed to do with this, and like you find outlets, and like as a someone who teaches now, just I'm in the same mindset as like my parents in a lot of ways, being like how do I give you my students what you need to like find out what you do, and like with the internet being so prevalent and with just like media changing, like podcasts not even existing well or being like mainstream like 10 years ago, it's just finding these like weird outlets and finding ways to express ourselves and like make it equitable, make it interesting. And yeah, I'm rambling
No, I
as
like
I
it.
always do.
I'm so when I lean in like this, it's because I'm listening a lot and I'm actually like trying to pull out more things to ask you about and talk to you about. So I want to go back to you said you try really hard to instill in your students, like your parents instilled in you, like that this is viable,
Hmm.
like being an artist is viable, and like let's be very honest, there are not a lot of people who get a college degree and then do what their college degree is for. Like
Hmm.
one of mine is foreign policy. So thinking like we were raised in a time where we were told an art degree was useless, but like look at all of the things that you all have done. What advice do you give your students that some of these awesome folks, there are quite a few folks on the Discord channel, and I'm going to assume there are like tens of thousands of folks,
Oh
like
yeah.
people on the YouTube, obviously, because why would they not want to see you?
Oh yeah.
Um, so, like, what advice would you give them, especially if they were like, you know what, being an artist is my passion, being a podcaster is my passion?
Hmm.
What do you tell them?
Well, I think an easy like thing to say is to never stop trying, but also that's like trying and continuing to pursue your goals and like beat your head against the wall is it seems like it's like easy advice. I don't think that's always well, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, trying really hard all the time is like easy, but I do think that like doing that is you have to have like the like privileges and safety nets sometimes to just even have the opportunity to keep pushing as an artist, and that's not something that everybody always has. But I think because of that, like being available, communicative, keeping working, and keep working with like a community, like staying a part of your community, being supportive of other artists, that is actually, maybe I'm rambling, but that is maybe the best
No,
advice I
keep
could give
rambling.
is
Yeah.
that is that like supporting your community is typically is my advice, because usually supporting like your community, like being friends, whether that be social media or whatever, usually just being like I like what you're doing, like I'm here also, like let's just be friends. Usually that stuff feedbacks onto you, and then someone will be like, "Yo, you are like the person that does this thing. Can you do this for me?" Or like, "Would you be interested in doing this for me?" And then like that's the only way that art communities thrive, I think, is by continuing to support each other, and like just seeing like this Nightcast community and this podcast community, there's so much support, and none of this I think would exist without a lot of like support and positive feedback and just enjoying what everybody's doing. So I think like I don't know. To me, this is of course like a piece of amazing fine art, and I love it.
Yeah, and it totally is. So I love I love everything you just said there. So much, especially about artists supporting artists. I'm a performing artist myself, and like so many times I feel like in communities, especially in communities of people who are doing similar things, it's easy to compare yourself, and it's easy to become competitive with other people who are there, and like wanting to hope that they don't do as well so you get better. And I love the message of a rising tide really does float all boats, and like it's all about support because there's only one you know, and
I
you're only
think
going to
that's
bring that. I also appreciate, and I would like to go back to um you mentioned like some people don't have that same privilege and don't have the safety net to be able to take those chances. Is that something that you've seen in school, especially while you've
um,
been teaching?
I see it in different ways, but
Hmm.
I mean, I'll have folks that have like a couple of part-time jobs, and I'm like, it's harder to make your artwork when you are stretched more thinly, and it's easier when you have more like easy opportunity to make your work. And I don't necessarily know what the solution is to that. It's just kind of uh, inherent in the culture of art is that like um, privilege often breeds opportunity in everything. I think. Yeah, it's not it's a tough industry. I'm not sure if I'm always succeeding, but continuing to try and continuing to like just be self-aware is helpful, and that's why I brought it up.
No, I like that a lot. I like that a lot. And I think, you said you don't have a solution to it, but I think having that support network, and as a person who has, more privilege, more opportunity, remembering that there are other people that don't, and pulling them up with you, being like, hey, there's this person that does this kind of art. We see it a lot in the podcast community too.
Hmm.
Like you're supporting four other podcasts, like Flight Risk, Dicey Cantina, Coruscant Nights, and the other place. Is there any of them that I missed?
I think that's all of them.
Okay. So, like, you're out there trying to be supportive, trying to lend a voice to other people's vision.
Yeah.
It's sometimes that's what you can do to do that. Oh, apparently, you guys support all Star Wars podcasts. That's from
I'm
Dustbuster. I think that's true.
I'm
Oh
happy
my
to do
gosh.
it. I have a lot of fun doing it. So yeah, I'm happy to do it. It's a lot of fun for me.
Heck yeah. So I'm super curious. When like so when you and Mark started playing Lucky and started hearing the Lucky Chronicles, like
Mhm.
to me it seemed like you all had gamed together for a while. Is that was my perception correct or totally incorrect and it was really something else?
I think we had I believe I was one of the first two groups that Mark ever started playing the Star Wars RPG with. And so he, I think, had a game with friends in Columbus, and then he was playing with me and my wife and our friend Ben, and unrecorded. And we played probably like 6 games and like a party of three and had a lot of fun. And then I think right after that, Mark and I started playing um, one on one where I was playing Lucky the Clone, and that was really fun. And I think that a lot of even at the start of Coruscant Nights, the like the rapport that my brother and I have is built on like experience of playing a couple times, but also knowing each other for at that point, 28 years of my life. And so that's, I think if it sounds like we know what we're doing, part of that might just be that we know each other very well.
Uh-huh.
But um but yeah. Um I don't know where it's going with that, but yeah. Um and listening to the podcast over the years, I can tell, I can see the evolution of how it's like how Mark as a GM has just like is just so on the ball about like decision making and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. I love that. So, who did you play before you started playing with Mark?
No, Mark
Really?
like taught me how to play. Like the first, if you listen back to those episodes, I'll be like, "What are these ones? These are the threats. These are the like negative ones."
Right,
But
but like some of us who have been playing for years still do that.
I probably still do too.
Yeah.
But I feel like I never wanted to know how to GM the games. I never wanted to like know how to build them. I was just like, oh, that's I like to play, like I have fun playing, but that stuff's like too much research, too much prep. But I think, you know, I've I don't know how many games I've played, but I kind of feel like I've learned how to GM through osmosis or something. Like I got it now. I still don't know all of the rules at all. I don't know how to. I don't know any
Yeah,
of.
when you're GM, it doesn't matter because you're God.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
As long as your
Yeah.
player doesn't know more about them than you and calls you out,
Well, they can call you out, but it's still your decision.
that's fair. I like that.
Yeah, yeah. I also don't like GMing because it does take way too much work and way too much research and preparation time. So I feel you on that very strongly. And like the two times I've done it, I've been like, I'm the DM, I make the rules.
That's the way.
My little, yes, this is the way.
Mm-hmm.
My little tidbit or trick there. So like, yeah, um KY asks a good question. Do you GM some?
I do a little bit.
Okay,
Um,
let's talk about that.
I've GM'd a couple games of Coruscant Nights, typically with my brother playing, which is nice because if I'm really following up the rules, he can, or not, I can, or sometimes rules regardless. I'll just be like, "Hey, how does ensnare work again?" And Mark can just explain it to me as my
Oh yeah, because you
the
don't have
player
to
not
actually
even.
open the player handbook. I
Mhm.
like it.
Um, I was I was GMing a game of like set in the Other Place universe during the a couple months ago, during maybe it was a year ago, during the pandemic, with some friends that I don't think have even listened to the podcast. But I was like very stringent about the rules and would talk to Mark about like what ghosts or what undead might show up. And in ways it was kind of like it was just fun for me and my friends like to play in the Other Place universe. I think a little bit of it could have also been kind of like research for the Other Place. Like I would share with Mark kind of
Hmm.
the ideas I had and how things went. Um, and then uh, earlier in the late summer and fall, I was um, I was playing through. There are these games in the back of the manuals of the Star Wars RPG, and I was playing through one of those with Mark, and just like no prep as the GM, I was just showing up, and well, I would show up like and 2 hours early. I would read through the book and be like, okay, like they're looking for this thing, these are the enemies. But that's a lot of fun. Like if you want to play with friends, to just use those like pre-made templates in the books is it's a good time.
Nice. I like that. I haven't tried playing out of any of those. My GM style is I flip through the monster manual because I mainly play D&D. Flip through the monster manual, put three different bookmarks in enemies that I want to use, and then I'm like, cool, okay, now we're gonna figure out where we're going.
I like that strategy because you're just it's a good way to just like let your players kind of find the game and not, you know, not force them into a situation or something.
Right. I think, and I think that concept, and I think I'm about to make some assumptions about like what you and Mark have done, but I think that concept is why I like what happens with Calum so much in the Other Place. Is you and Mark tell this beautiful collaborative story, and in my mind, this is like all you all talk about when you get on the phone is like, what's happening in the other place? What is this area like? You know, tell me about these dried flowers, these paint flowers.
Mm-hmm.
Not a spoiler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of I know Mark is so and I are so interested in the storytelling of the other plays. And we definitely chat a lot about just workshopping ideas that will be like interesting and original and like um feel different and fresh and new. And that's something I really like about the other place and what I like about how Mark has built it and how I've tried to impact the world. It's been a lot of fun.
I like that. I like that. So the theme of storytelling comes up a lot, especially like it's come up a little bit while we've been talking, and it tends to come up a lot like as we talk about RPGs. Um, is that like what is the appeal of that? Like, tell me
Yeah.
more. Kind of, yeah.
That's a good question. I think that storytelling is for me like creatively it's deeply satisfying to make stories that have interesting arcs and interesting climaxes and have twists and stuff like that, especially to watch a movie, to read a book, to like experience something that surprises you or is like intriguing and mystifying is so fun. And I think that bringing all that, seeing role playing games like a movie, like a book with like a trajectory that has like arcs and pivots is um, what's the word? It's satisfying and it's something that I like a lot about it. Something I like a lot about the podcast that Mark makes and the stories and stuff, the connections to see like to follow a character from A to B to C and see like all of the things that they explore and like um I know that his podcasts have a lot of um there's always just like payoffs, you've played the other place just being like what is this thing, like I want to know what this is about, when will it be revealed, what will be the revelation, um but to be on the like narrative creative side is a lot of fun, but then when you're the player you're part of that narrative creative side too because you get to decide like what do we do with this book, do we go over here, do we go over there, do I share the book, like it's all just um all like media is like this experiential thing or something, and to be a part of it I think is just a lot of fun basically.
Mhm. I love that. It always intrigues me to find out like what it is about storytelling that attracts people to it, that makes people want to engage with it. I have a theory that storytelling is really a universal human experience. So, like, for us to use it with complete strangers on the internet, like we normally do, and connect like across backgrounds, across like different perspectives and stuff like that, I really love. And I love what you said about like really like finding this thing. Oh no! Ah, come back! Oh no! We almost have him back.
It's,
I can hear you.
can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? All
I don't know.
right. I can see you.
Okay, who knows.
Oh no! It's because the overlords of the Matrix know that we were getting into storytelling and
Mm-hmm.
shared human experiences, and they're like, "Nope, we can't have that." So,
Getting too
heaven
close to the
forbid we
truth.
have world peace by realizing that we're all just people.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh, it's a good break. Anyway, I'm gonna actually jump over into some of the chat questions because I know there's a bunch,
Okay.
and I am enjoying talking to you, and I could ask you a lot more questions, like kind of about what it was like, how it was to grow up. And one thing that I found that's really interesting, I'm gonna ask a question of my own. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
chat. I'll get back to you. Like what I found interesting the older I get is what a different experience my brother and I had. And my dog's tail is hitting the side of my table. So if you hear this little thumping or little dinging, that's him. It's very cute. He's very happy. But like just having a different perspective of events, having a different perspective of like the house you grew up in and having different experiences, especially being the younger sibling. Like, I'm going to make an assumption that Mark left home before you did. I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um,
he. Mm-hmm.
but like in essence, you were an only child there for a time. So like,
Um, for a short amount of time, but
uh huh.
I think Mark. I think part of why he and I mesh so well in our idea generation and story generation is because we are so close in age and had been sharing so many of the same experiences for so much of our childhood and young adulthood. So, we're both nerds. We both were like in high school watching like Cowboy Bebop and like Avatar: The Last Airbender and Teen Titans and Samurai Jack, and like we just have like a very similar language for like storytelling and action and stuff. Um, and uh there was a period probably where Mark moved out and went to college, and like we weren't speaking like all the time like we had been since. Um, and I would say that you know, there's a point in everybody's life where you late high school and early college where like you're kind of too cool for school and you're like figuring out like the outside world and stuff. But I think there's this point after where you're like, oh, like I still like all the things I like, and like it was probably when I Coruscant Nights and us playing games probably started again when I was like 26 or 27, and like all of that kind of shared storytelling and fun narrative and stuff that we like, I feel like we shared again, and like that's I feel like the what I like. And even it's funny just to think like about going away and going and doing different things, and like all of us moving away, we all have to go get jobs, we have to figure out our lives and stuff. um and how like video meeting and stuff is so it's exhausting. We all are exhausted by having like video meetings a lot of the time, but
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like I feel great about being able to jump on here and talk to people and play games and stuff. Like to do this stuff is like a hobby of mine, and I'm thankful for it. It makes me feel even like gaming, like online gaming. I've been playing there was just a Minecraft update, and I've been playing a bunch of Minecraft with some friends that live like 2 hours away, and like I get to hear their voices for like 6 hours on a Sunday. It's a great thing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Just so that like this stuff does like can bring us closer and can like fulfill us.
I agree. Us nerds, we were ready for the pandemic. Most of us were spending our lives virtually anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. So, all right, I'm gonna go to some other stuff because I really like. All I want to do is be like, so you had that time in your life where you and Mark were separate and then you came back together. Tell me
Hmm.
about that. Never mind. That's I could talk to you about that. Let's get some interesting questions here. All right. Let's I actually like, let's see. Andrew would like to know what is art.
Oh boy. What isn't is the easier question. I don't have the answer to either things. Anything that springs joy, uh, I guess, is art, and then the things that don't are also art. It's whatever you want it to be. I'm paid to teach it, but not to explain it. I explain it. I teach it in little moments, and then I ask them to put all the moments together and figure it out for themselves. Um, anything. I am very much a supporter that I'm not elitist at all. I enjoy like all forms of art. I enjoy video games. I enjoy um, podcasts. Uh, I try and enjoy my own art and try not to
Judge
like,
yourself.
yeah. Um, but I try and improve too. But I don't know what it is. It because it's too big. That's the problem. It's just too big of a thing to sum up.
I
Uh,
like that. I like that. Andrew, it's too big. It is
okay,
too big.
okay. If I were to
Go
try,
experience
I'm
it.
gonna I'm gonna try. I
You're
feel like
like, now I want to try. Do it.
art is um anything that brings a new idea, a creative idea into the public consciousness, into society. It can speak to very big things, very small things, but as long as it um, says something, it is art.
I like that. I want to challenge that. I'm not going
You
to.
could easily.
Well, right, but what is right, what is not? Andrew
We could
says
be here all night.
an intentional complex question. Um, Kay White from Dicey Cantina would like to know what color or palette speaks to you.
My favorite color palette. Um, my favorite color combo, I think, is blue and orange. Um, with complementary colors, they are often seen in the sky. They they have a lot of like a push and pull with each other, but they also combine in a really like beautiful way. So yeah, orange and blue. I love orange and blue.
Is that why most movie posters are orange and blue?
Probably. And also when you combine them, they make brown, which I think brown might be my favorite color.
Interesting. Why brown?
Just like the earthy, it's the color of like reality.
I like that. Brown is the color of reality. I'm gonna steal that from you, Doug.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. Let's see. Go back. Where was that? Oh, yeah. So, Kay White would like to know what book from your childhood made an impact on you. I would like to know also, kind of follow up, what story from your childhood made an impact on you?
Hmm. Boy, that's really hard. A book from
Mm-hmm.
my childhood. Hmm. I was never a big reader as a younger person. Um, I kind of struggled to take to reading as a younger person. I do
Mm-hmm.
think that the Golden Compass series was something that was pretty influential to me. I
Interesting.
probably didn't really get into it till I was like 12 years old. But something I love about the Golden Compass is that um, it's like a fun fantasy story, but has a lot of kind of like strangeness, like
Uh-huh.
abstractness to it. I don't know if you've read it or have like watched the movies or the
Watched
shows.
the movie, and my brother read it and told me
Hmm.
about it. So I'm familiar with it, and I like it. It goes into kind of some darker explorations.
Hmm. It's got a lot of other placey stuff.
I know. Is that where some of the inspiration came from?
Absolutely, I would say from behind. This is behind the mask. Mark would agree.
That's right.
Um,
Mark, it doesn't matter if Mark agrees or not. This is about you,
fair enough.
Doug. I like it. That's really interesting, and that's good to know because, like, I feel like you can feel it. What other stories like from your childhood inspire you? Because like how you're saying podcasts and um I'm gonna add YouTube in there, like that's all art, right? So movies and podcasts
Hmm.
and like stories that we read, stories that we tell ourselves, comics, like all of that still falls in that same genre. Like in my opinion, it's our mythology. So
Hmm.
like out of all of that, like what do you remember most? What story stuck with you most throughout your
Mm,
childhood?
good question. A hard question.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, well, I will say that, you know, as far as fun stories, like stories that you we would all know, it's only until recently I realized how much Calvin and Hobbes I had read as a child and how like much that had
Yeah,
influenced
that's
me as like
awesome.
an artist and narrative and a
Uh-huh.
narrative artist and just being like telling like short little jokes with like Calvin Hobbes has so much like big kind of crazy existential answers to questions.
Hmm.
And I almost forgot that I read a lot of that stuff. But I think another answer to that question is I remember a lot of um, ghost stories from when I was Mark and I were younger. Like
Uh-huh.
probably stories told by people like in passing. They're like, "Oh yeah, yeah, here's a ghost story. Get ready, you're gonna be scared." But actually
Uh-huh.
being like, "Oh my gosh, I'm like terrified." And I know that yeah, we are both really intrigued by ghost stories and like I want to believe all of these stories and I love like thinking that I believe them and getting like chills and stuff. It does. I mean, I love uh horror and I love that kind of influence in at least the Other Place podcast.
What is your favorite ghost story? Can you tell us that ghost story?
uh some of my ghost stories that I heard as a youngster, I kind of feel like ghost stories can be kind of personal sometimes.
Hmm.
They're like family ghost stories. Um,
Oh, that's
so
fun.
I'm not gonna share any of those, but I'm gonna share a ghost story from a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
I actually told Mark this story, and I don't know if I believe in ghosts. So I told him this and I kind of forgot about it. And then he told me it a couple months later and I was like, "Whoa, did I really tell you that? That is super creepy."
Oh my God. Okay, okay, okay.
Okay, so um my wife and I we were living in this house. We were very secluded, just forests all around. We were kind of in a little valley too. And I went out to take the trash, a very spooky thing that we all do all the
Right. Why do
time.
we do this?
I'm taking out the
Terrible.
trash and I there's a bush maybe 10 feet away from me, and I hear these footsteps crunching in the leaves.
And of course you were by yourself.
And I was by myself. It's like
Yeah.
pitch black, no moon. And I said something like, "Hey, hey, who's there?" And then the hill above had like a road on it, and this is
Uh-huh.
about 40 feet away. And as soon as I said that, I hear the footsteps crunching on the road 40 feet above.
Nope.
Um, yeah, I was I was frightened. I probably was just like, "I'm crazy. That was nothing."
How quickly did you run back to your house though?
I don't remember. I might be
Ooh,
good enough at convincing myself that I'm I'm wrong. It's not. They're not ghosts. It's just me. Uh,
interesting, interesting. Mark says he seems to remember that you said those footsteps were at an inhuman speed.
I like I, I like his story better than mine. He can keep
Mark,
evolving.
you're wrong. You're wrong. This is Doug's story. Stop it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's so funny. We do all of these things like I take my dog out in the middle of the night and then he just stares into nothing. And I'm like, I'm out here all alone in the middle of the night. What am I doing? This is a terrible idea. It's like you're taking the trash out. It's literally a setup for a horror film. You
Mm-hmm.
were taking the trash out by yourself in the dead of night with
Mm-hmm.
no moon and expecting nothing to happen to you.
We've seen it. We've seen the outcome 100 times on
I
screen,
know.
and we have not
And
learned
we
our
do it every
lesson.
week. We
Mm-hmm.
do it every week. Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that. Oh, so you kind of answered one of the questions in the chat. Do you believe in ghosts?
Um, I want to believe.
Oh, so Mulder, so good. I
Uh,
love that.
yeah, I should just leave it at that.
I think you should. I think that's good. I think that's good. Ooh, here's another great question. Why are you named Doug?
Oh, I don't know the answer to that question.
Really?
No.
Have you never asked about it?
If I have, it was like probably 20 years ago and I forgot. I'll have to
Oh, no.
ask next time I think about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to ask, and I'm gonna need you to report back to our chat, to the Behind the Mask chat, so everyone knows.
I do know that my mother was an elementary school teacher and had a lot of students and maybe would occasionally have like problematic students. And I know that my name had to be not any student that left a like a impact on the
So it
family.
really narrowed that baby name book
So,
down.
so maybe they did. Maybe my mom just never had a Doug as a student.
Oh my
That's.
gosh.
I think that I've heard that.
Interesting. Doug, I think it's more than that. I think we'll dig into that and we'll find out the answer later
Oh,
for everyone.
fair enough.
That's awesome. Do you have a middle name? Don't give it to us because like that's usually a security
Okay.
question.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Okay. I'm
It's
just
Caleb.
curious. Is it really?
No, that'd be cool
Oh,
though.
I got real freaked out there for a second. All right. So let's see. Is Calum just lucky of the other place?
Pretty much.
Really?
No, but Caleb is like more of a scientist. I think
Mm-hmm.
Caleb has like a little bit of a more of a personality. I like Lucky a lot. I like Lucky's lack of personality because Lucky's a clone, so he's like trying to figure out what it is to have a personality. But I think Caleb is more of they are both similarly like interested in finding answers and intrigue, but I think that Caleb's is more like science based, and I think maybe further into the other place will be more based on like um I don't know, like justice and finding like true answers to like big problems. Something like that. I don't know.
I like that. What big problem do you wish you could find a true answer to?
Oh boy, what big problem? Um well, lately I'd say a big problem I wish we could find an answer on would be like just coming to more of genuine agreement and understanding as like a human race, and just like finding a little bit more common ground would be like a great problem to solve. Um, but I like totally understand that it's just super hard to do. Easy to just say that's an easy problem to solve.
Right.
But you know, playing games when the problems can be slightly easier, it can be deeply satisfying.
Yeah, yeah. And playing games together with people
Oh yeah, that
helps.
helps. That helps.
Pretty sure that's how we're gonna eventually, in 20,000 years, maybe achieve world peace. 40,000
Mm-hmm.
years.
Sure. Enter
So,
into the singularity.
right? Yeah, that'd be
Mm-hmm.
wonderful. We'll all be together. All right, so I like this. This is one from my brother Drunkle Grog. Would you want to play a game with SJ, with me, with Sarah Joy?
Sure. Absolutely.
All right.
I don't think I've ever said no to playing a game.
Oh, interesting. Ooh, do you want to play a game? That would be fun. Anyway, so I marked it in my brain about 9:45 Eastern Standard Time, not the Central Time Zone of the world, to talk to you about a new endeavor that you're doing that I'm super excited about. I don't know if you all have any of these episodes out on YouTube yet, but
Mm.
apparently you, my friend, have a passion for hot sauce.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Tell us about this.
So my brother Mark and I, Mostly Mark as the production everything and hot sauce buyer
And
and
Mark is the
facilitator.
reason that this show exists.
Yeah, I'm just a man. I just show up.
Me
uh,
too. Do you know how many people run the back end of this? It's not me.
um, so yeah, we've been recording these episodes of a YouTube series called Hot Stuff, where we taste hot sauces and talk about Star Wars, and we rate every hot sauce either between Hoth and Mustafar as far as the heat. And so
Uh-huh.
every hot sauce has been named a different planet, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been a spicy adventure. Yeah, I hope folks watch it.
Mhm.
But it's been fun. I just as Mark and I have just always liked hot sauce, and I'm always happy to taste a new one. And
Nice.
sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, sometimes they're incredibly hot. I like a pretty hot sauce. But yeah, it's been fun. Yeah.
So what was the first hot sauce you remember tasting? Or the
Hmm.
first time you remember having hot sauce?
In my life?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I want to go back into deep childhood trauma here, Doug.
I'm thinking. I'm searching the Mind Palace.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Huh.
You can't
It
answer, Mark. I see you typing.
he might know my answer better than I. I feel like back in the 90s there were only in the early 90s there was only one hot sauce, and that was Tabasco.
Huh?
And then
Oh.
there was Frank's, and then in like the early 2000s there was Sriracha. And Sriracha was the first one that I remember being like, this rules. I love this.
Love sriracha.
So if I could like say what I think that I'm gonna dub Sriracha as like my personal like first time I was like, oh, I like hot sauce. Um, was like probably going to my first like Thai restaurant when I was like 20 and eating sriracha and being like, oh, this is good.
What is this magical sauce that then we found out was actually made in California?
Still probably the farthest thing away I'd eaten at that time in my life.
Really?
Oh, I don't know. Like,
Oh my gosh. No, tell me more about that. What is the farthest away you've ever been?
I have been to Hawaii. That might have been the farthest away I've ever been. Yeah, probably. Probably farthest away from where I was born. I've been around the United States and a little bit of Canada, but that's it.
Okay, okay. So Hoth sauce
Mhm.
means to take a tour to Asia.
Oh, I'm game.
Yeah, me too. I'll be your not tour guide because I don't know anything over there.
Have you been over there? Have you been to?
Wait, no, no, that's on my list. That's on my list. I'm gonna finish up the 50 states first, which I hope to do in the next 2 years, and then I'm gonna head out to the
Cool.
wild blue yonder. So if you could head out to the wild blue yonder right now, where would you go?
Hmm. I'd like to go to. Um. I'd like to go to the. It's hard. It's hard because like, what an opportunity that would be to just go anywhere.
Oh yeah.
I'd love to go to like the UK just because for the ease and like just to be somewhere else and like. But I would like to go to like Asia and just experience really different cultures that I'm used to, and enjoy that.
Mhm.
That's just such a hard question. It's
It
like,
is. It is. Just one plane ticket right now, but that's okay because it's good that it's a hard question. Like, I like that. I am gonna pull this one out of the chat because I think it's hilarious and I would love to know the answer. What was your favorite Halloween costume?
oh boy, I have a lot of very goofy Halloween costumes because I was a goofy
Mm-hmm.
kid.
I like it. Or same.
Uh, so um, I think when I was in second grade, I was the Phantom of the Opera.
Oh my God, tell me more about that.
It was a really good costume. I think
Hmm.
I think my mask was a white mask that was like cut with scissors to be like the half. Um, and that is like just a very silly, like great costume for like a 7 or 8 year old. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I was the Phantom of the Opera once.
yeah. I love that. Oh my gosh, you were like, oh no, why would I be the hero when I can be the darkly troubled hero? Because who made her career after all? I mean, like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful. Anyway, the incels are going to be up on here soon. Um, all right. So I think everybody wants to know, do you get all the secrets that happen on the other place and Nightcast Creative and Coruscant
Um,
Nights? Does Mark call you immediately after games and like spill the tea to you?
I would say probably yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I usually get the message him and get the follow up and then get like explanations of where things are going. And sometimes we workshop like where things are heading or like what's a cool idea. So yeah, I have all of the um I have all of the secrets somewhere in here.
I like it. Oh man, what I really want to know, but you can't answer this because there are
Hmm.
spoilers for people who haven't watched stuff yet or listened to stuff, is like, what was the one thing that happened that really messed up Mark's game? Like, but we're not going to talk about that. Is that spoilers? So, let's see. I'm gonna go back to art. I just like it so much. So, like, you keep talking about like podcasts are art, which I completely agree with you. What got you into recording with everyone else? Like, because it's not just Mark you record with. You record with Flight Risk and Dicey Cantina, like as a fairly regular character.
Well, I think it's I'm really not that I wish I participated more in the Discord servers and in the Discord community. I think I like just I don't know if I wouldn't say I'm too busy. I just like it's just I'm just not that like social and like a lot of social media things.
Mm-hmm.
But I like it. I wish I was more. Maybe I'll change one day. But I think a lot of my I don't know.
You're changing right now. You're putting out a lot of information to a lot of
Sure.
people at the same time. Look at that. Good
There's
job.
always hope. I think anybody can change anything about themselves anytime that they want. But
Mhm.
I think a lot of I imagine that my connections with those podcasts are through the Discord and through Coruscant Nights like community with the Discord and the connection between the communities between Stacy Gattina and Flight Risk. Um, I think it's those connections and those podcasters and those listeners being like, oh, you have like someone that likes to play and like is passionate about playing. Like, do they want to play? And I'm happy to do it. And then I listen to their podcast and I'm like, oh, I love what you're doing. Like, I'm so excited to play. I think it's just more of that like this close community of people that appreciate each other's art. Um, that I'm happy that they will invite me to play sometimes.
Oh, well, you're an awesome player. It's super fun to listen to you.
Thank
Um,
you.
the Calum arc is like currently my favorite thing to listen to on the other place. I'm like, there was season one, season two. I love you guys, but like, there's something magical that happens like when you two start weaving that story. When you start weaving that story, because you're feeding it to Mark, like, this is what I'm seeing, this is what I'm doing, this is where I'm going. Like, it's super fun. Anyway, I geeked out there for a second.
Thank you.
So,
It's it's been super fun to play and listen to. Yeah.
sweet. Was there a question that you were hoping that I was going to ask you that I didn't ask you?
Um, there's nothing coming to me. I've just been like just trying to react like search my brain for all the perfect answers.
Right. Well, and like, especially talking. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh. Andrew, what's your deepest secret that you're dying to tell us? That's exactly what I just asked. But I find that these go so much better when like all the questions aren't planned out, and like you'll see there are a bunch of questions in there for the chat. If you want to go through them and answer them for folks, you are more than welcome to. It's super fun just talking to you and learning about you, and like I'm always a fan of the sibling dynamic and like how that plays out in like relationships, and especially like very publicly on a podcast, you know. It's just fun, and I love your storytelling.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Um, Man, what was it? Uh, I lost my train of thought.
That's
Um,
okay. What is one piece of advice that you want to leave everybody with? How about that?
hmm. Uh, as they said in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, be excellent to each other.
My friend, that is wonderful. Well, everyone, we're gonna go ahead and oh, Mark says and I don't know what the and is, buddy.
And
Oh.
party on, dudes.
Yes. Yes.
I
Apparently,
forgot
Doug and
about
I
that.
stopped listening when we got like the best advice, and we're like, God, if we could just change the world, if everyone would be excellent to each other, and totally missed the party part.
I forgot about that.
Right, me too. That's great. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. This was super awesome. Where can we find you on the interweb?
Um, I have some art you can look at. There's some you could buy if you wanted to on it's voidboy.art.
On what? I'm sorry.
Voidboy, it's voidboy.art. That's like void as in the eternal void, and boy as in a little boy blue. Dot art. There's stuff there, and then I'd say check out. I have a band called the Bunk Bed Bros. We're on Bandcamp. Check us
Oh,
out.
awesome. Okay.
We have a new album probably coming in January that's going to be all about space.
My God, I love space.
We're kind of
So,
like
what kind of music is it? What genre?
yeah, it's hard to describe.
Awesome.
It's almost like it's almost like I can't describe it. Like educational comedy, I'll describe it
Okay.
as.
Okay. All right, friends. All you fans of educational comedy music, head on over right now to Bandcamp. Check out Bunk Bed Bros.
That's right.
Okay, awesome. Bunk Bed Bros. It's gonna be awesome.
Thank you.
Any other place we can find you on the interwebs?
Just on all of the podcasts mentioned, listen to me and I'll be on there. Thank you for having me.
When we miss your voice, we'll go listen there. Thank you. It was wonderful to meet you. And thank you all for tuning in, all 10, 20,000 of you on YouTube and 6 of you on Discord. But thank
Thank
you
you
so
guys.
much. All right,
Well,
everybody. We'll be back in January. I don't have a guest scheduled yet, so it could be you. Just give me a shout in the chat and we'll go from there. Also, check out the chat in the Discord server on the Night's Creative server to find out all of Doug's answers if he ever feels like dropping them there. If not, hang out for the anticipation. It'll be great. Thank you all so much, and good night, or good afternoon, or good morning.